All right, when I learned about the planned opening of the Everglades site around early July this year, I knew I wanted to fight its closure. The site represents a triple assault on immigration, on indigenous lands, and on our shared environment. I know we cannot protect the Everglades while desecrating it with more and more cages of humans. And we cannot stand for justice without confronting what's happening in our own backyard. We are gathering tonight to speak truth, uplift justice, and act together. Most of you know, Thursday, 2 days ago, the Miami Herald reported, I'm happy about this, I like reading this, so I'm gonna read this. The Miami Herald reported, U.S. District Judge Kathleen Williams, in her 82-page ruling, prohibited the state and federal governments from sending more immigrants to the detention center. Oh my gosh. Built on an airstrip on the edge of the Big Cypress National Preserve, she also told the state to remove all generators, gas, sewage, lighting, fencing, and other waste items over the next 9 weeks. Eventually, it's rendering the site uninhabitable. So after I heard this, I got a lot of, there was a lot of celebration. If you weren't in the party, sorry. We would have invited you had we known, but there was a lot of celebrating for this win. But, and the Friends of the Everglades, is that me? Oh, look, it's me. I got an email from the Friends of the Everglades, and this is how they described it. During 4 days of hearings, nothing is fast, 4 days of hearings in federal court in Miami this month, the Friends of the Everglades, and there may have been other plaintiffs, but I don't know those details, made a compelling case that the state and federal government were harming the ecosystem of the Big Cypress National Preserve. But the fight isn't over. The state and federal government already filed their appeal. We have to celebrate our wins, and so our work continues. Additional lawsuits are pending regarding due process, which wasn't even mentioned, and inhumane conditions. How did we even get to this point? How did we even get here? So we're still fighting. So first, I do want to uplift and offer gratitude to everyone that's here. In addition, I want to recognize the wonderful human beings at the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. They are the reason that I was able to organize this event. Without them, I could have done none of this. The Unitarian, in particular, I want to shout out Ivana de la Con. She's not even in Miami, but she's a former Miami resident, and she's like my soul sister of another generation, another life. So I want to thank her in particular. She really walked me through this. The Universal Unitarian Service Committee is a nonprofit organization dedicated to advancing human rights and social justice through grassroots collaborations and advocacy. Okay, so while I'm offering thanks to them, I also want to offer thanks to our tabling people. So what I have listed here, and I hope you all had a chance to visit with our table people, the Clio Institute, and their mission is driving bold climate action. We also have the Florida Immigrant Coalition, which is a grassroots movement led by community organizations, farm workers, youth advocates, lawyers, union members, and more. You want to wave at me? There they are. And I have a special place in my heart for, and I think we all should, because these are the young people, Florida Student Power Network. Their vision is a Florida where Black, brown, and directly impacted youth and student organizers lead the charge towards safe and sustainable communities. Okay, and of course we have a table, this congregation, which is the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Miami. We do have our table in the back there, and we do meet every Sunday at 11 a.m., and I try to be there all the time, so please come. It would be nice to meet you all on a day where I'm not running around like a silly person. So please visit with us. And continue the work that we're learning about today and that we're starting today. And with the win that we had, there is hope. So carry that forward in all our actions as we move forward. Thank you. Okay, this is all right. I don't want to go over in time, so I do want to invite our panelists to come and join me here. And where are my panelists? Come. We have 4 chairs. They will all be filled. And I would like Betty to offer a prayer in her ancestral language. That I want to say that I've been hearing this every Sunday at the site in her home. And it's been, every time I hear it, I feel uplifted. So thank you for sharing this.
Good evening. How are you? Good? All right. So thank you for having me here today. And so let's get this party started, okay? Because prayer, to me, is an honest conversation and celebration of who we were created for this planet. And in my prayer, it's always about how I can help Creator in taking care of creation. Akanagnoja himiniten tepekik yoli choga himiniligan chinuntet yagnenometik tahonga pumwache lonti choa hantenchik imahachik achubachik avastalik anawachik tinchik alosik umoshanaigan tepekamo Yaya ona pakshaliga chinuntet ayit patalichik tahonga una lachi yakat hantaik ilostachik ona lachik tanawasicho sent tinjagalo se timahacho se umoshanaigat ilamashkan chihagla palish Yaya ilaho chigan hapangan unti chamaligan gilashkachi pekoen flugahechachik chishanaigan nagat inwastet imanagbistek ilostachin imayin inchulian ilostachishanai chihagla palish Yaya kahela choli gan shagle yachapala chin yagnin lukhampacha chin hantechik chinet yagnet choli chik tahonga imahachik mame umachin in wilechik shwalechik umoshanan ilmashkan chihagla palish Himenilegan mame hantaik hichumoga hantaik timahacho shanai mga aposnichi koen Niktagan pohalichik umachishanai hantet alachik umeshanai ilamashket chihaglapalish. I said in my language to Creator that the land that He gave us to reside upon, to bring us clarity in our discussions tonight on how to care for that landscape, how to love that landscape, and how to uplift each others to help take care of that landscape. And I also ask Creator that as many of you have traveled distances to get here, that as you leave to keep an eye on you so you get home safely. But as we speak, I also ask Creator that to help us, guide us, and give us clarity and light as to how we, each and every one of us, can uplift each other, help each other, and love one another. And I said, thank you for that.
Morgan, there you are. I'll pass the mic to Morgan, but before I do that, I'll do one door prize so she can get comfortable. How about a door prize? Yeah? You want a door prize? Let's see if we can get the numbers. All right, 732-4754. This always happens. This always happens. What's that?
Call it out again.
You want me to call it out again?
Going
All right.
once, going
What-
twice.
All right. She's good. 732 4754. You got it. We are giving out plants right now. I have emergency radios, but I don't know where they are at the moment. They were en route. So please take a large plant or multiple little plants. Help yourself. Luna, that's Luna from Florida Student Power Network. Okay, I'm going to pass it to Morgan so she can lead our panel.
All right. Your timekeeping, right? Yes, please. Good evening, everyone. My name is Morgan DeFranco, friend of UU Miami and social justice crusader. Glad that you are all here this evening. So I will introduce our panelists and then we'll get started. So to my left, perfect, is Betty Osceola, keeper of memory and protector of place, resident on the ancestral homeland of the Miccosukee tribe. Then we have Yarelis Mendez Zamora, Friends of Service Committee, and let's see, activist and organizer. Then we have Alexandra Orellana, Flick Votes, Florida Immigration Coalition, and South Florida Membership Organizer. And last but not least, we have Ken Russell, former Miami Commissioner, Everglades Trust Board member, Sierra Club representative, and current candidate for mayor of Miami. Okay, so we have 3 questions to ask each of the panelists. I believe Judith is going to be our timekeeper, so about 3 minutes per question, and then there'll be time for the audience to ask questions of our panel members. So the first question, and we'll start with Betty, if that's okay?
Actually, could we start?
Oh, sure. We'll start at the other side. All right. Why are you opposed to the detention center?
Wow. Let me count the ways. First, could we have a round of applause for Judge Kathleen Williams? The last remaining check and balance in our system of checks and balance in government is our judicial branch. When our legislative branch is failing, our executive branch is failing, the judicial branch is holding strong, and I'm very thankful for that. And there's a final check and balance, and of course, that's the voters. So there's so many reasons why the Alligator Alcatraz detention center is wrong. And you can start with the humanitarian reasons around the immigration issue, the falsely declared crisis that we have in this country, the demonization of immigrants. That's the first issue with this place. It shouldn't even exist in this form because there is no immigrant emergency in the United States of America. The second reason, the location, the geography of where this is terribly sensitive from an ecological perspective and a humanitarian perspective. The Miccosukee tribe, I won't even get into that. God bless Betty Osceola for everything that she's done. If there is anyone who has the most tolerance of immigrants in this country, it is the indigenous tribes of this country. But regardless of that, the Miccosukee tribe took a genius position on this issue to stand on environment. And that is the other reason that this fiasco of a place should not exist at all. And by recognizing that sticking to the issue that is nonpartisan, non-controversial, and embraced by all, we can gather a coalition to actually shut this down. And it's working. It's absolutely working. And so I really want to give full credit to the Miccosukee tribe for really standing up on this issue and leading the way.
Thank you. So I have Flick's answer, and I have my own personal answer with my own personal story of having been the daughter of two incredible Peruvian immigrants that came to this country wanting to start a family here and wanting to live out their potential, which they could not do in Peru during that time. And as a result of that, we became displaced for a long period of time during my adolescence. And I know that despite everything we had to go through, we're the lucky ones. My family never had to be in this type of detention camp in the way that it is constructed now. So when I think about that, I look at what was proposed, what we had for this awful period of time, this Everglades detention camp, and my heart cries out for these families because I know what it's like to be separated from the people you love the most because of cruelty in the government, in the law that is just completely unfair to the people that are supposed to be represented. So that's the reason why I was against this. And on the part of Flick, we knew that it was important to respond from the, obviously the environmental aspects of everything were hugely important and were the reason why we were able to win this. However, I wanted to also make sure that we could give perspective to the human lives that are being affected when in these detention camps. They are being starved, they're not being allowed to bathe, they're not being allowed to communicate with their family members, with their legal representation, and it's just, like I said before, cruelty. And I am so thankful that we were able to connect with other groups and organizations that had this similar goal of getting this place closed down and that we were able to achieve that. And I just want to highlight that immigrants are here, we are here to stay, and we belong here. So I am just so proud of us for being able to achieve this huge accomplishment.
All right. So my name is Yarelis, and I work with the American Friends Service Committee, a Quaker faith-based organization that for over 100 years has fought for human dignity. And part of that dignity means no detention centers. There is no humane detention. And yes. So I'm gonna tell y'all a little bit of facts, so bear with me. There have been over 10 deaths in detention centers since the start of this year. And can y'all, think for a moment, where is it that is most deadly? It's here in Florida. We've had, from those over 10 deaths, 5 of them have occurred right here. So when we say that these are dangerous conditions, we're not exaggerating. We're telling y'all that this is something very, very real, that men are dying in these detention centers, that women who are crying out for medical emergencies and for medical attention are not receiving that. This is real. And I'm gonna also ground us in the cruelty of the start of the Everglades concentration camp. So back in 2023, the situation in Haiti is rapidly devolving. There is more violence on the island, and Haitians, in order to save their lives, take to the seas. And they are in the boats trying to come over. What does DeSantis do? Our governor decides to declare a state of emergency. And that is how he justifies the creation of Alligator Alcatraz. From an order, from a state of emergency that still names Biden as president, that dehumanizes, criminalizes Haitian migrants who were fleeing for their lives. So this place was birthed from cruelty, and from there can be no light. So why else are we against this? I think about my father all the time. My father is a cancer survivor, and I'm so thankful that he is at home with us, that he has his citizenship, because if he was in one of these detention centers, I know I would not be able to sleep. I think about the daughters who have not heard from their fathers. I think about the wives who wonder when they're going to see their husband again. I think about the cousins that are not going to be with us as we celebrate birthdays and Easter and other holidays because they are trapped in these places. It's not just about the Everglades concentration camp. It's about Chrome, it's about the Broward Transitional Center, it's about the new detention center that DeSantis wants to open in Baker. So we have to, number one, really dig deep into our human empathy and be able to stand in it. Because, again, we're seeing how immigrants are being used as a political tool to divide us. We can't be divided. This is our state, this is our home, and we cannot allow more men, women, and honestly, people that we love to die in there.
I feel like I don't have to say anything. You know, when that bad promo first came out, Ootmeyer Can't Act, when someone sent it to me, and when I watched it, I'm like, this is a joke. Then I watched it again. And then I got offended because how they were describing my homeland as a wasteland, how they were portraying the wildlife in the area. And because someone has to speak up for the voiceless, and I'm sure the wildlife don't appreciate them being used in that manner. And then the comment, there's no one out there. I'm like, what about me? What about the Miccosukee people? And I was like, in 2025, I guess we still don't exist. They still don't see us. And obviously, they don't see everyone that is in that situation. And my gut told me this wasn't a joke, that I had to do something. And even though everyone thought it was a joke, I'm like, well, I'd rather do something and create awareness and err on the side of caution versus not doing something and find out it wasn't a joke. And the Everglades provided my people a home when we were being chased and killed over land. In this situation, unfortunately, the state chose to use the vehicle of immigration to drive through the doorway over land. All of this is about land. And they used a very contentious situation that is very divisive to do what they're doing because they knew they would have support, unfortunately, for what they're doing because a lot of people would not tie this to the land. It's all about the land. And for my people, it's in our tribal constitution for our tribe to protect the environment, to protect our homeland. That's how important it is to us because we understand in order for us to exist, we have to have that landscape to exist. And for me, I can't speak for all other tribes in the United States, but I can speak for how I was raised in my clan, is that we are a part of that environment. We come from the environment, and we're going to return to the environment when it's our time to journey on to our next life. And we were given that responsibility, that duty to always care for the environment because we're only borrowing it from our children, from the future generations. And just like that gardener, we have to take care of that garden the best way that we can for all life, and we respect all life in all its forms. And, you know, the alligator can't vote. The python can't vote. The owls don't vote. The trees don't vote. So someone has to stand up and speak for them because, you know, a tree is not going to uproot itself. I know we got some in pots over here, but other than that, you know, they don't uproot themselves to go and talk before a county commission meeting or before, you know, Congress. So it's our responsibility as human beings, their fellow relatives, to help speak for them and advocate for them. And I always say, if we can't respect the environment in which we live, how can we expect individuals to respect each other? It's very basic. Because apparently because we don't value the environment, we don't value each other and what that environment gives us as fellow human beings. And for me, because I get people on the internet, people are very bold behind a keyboard, right? Because they can't see you face to face. And they all, I get comments, why don't you advocate for human beings? You just talk about the environment. I'm like, ecosystem 101, human beings are a part of that ecosystem. They are part of the environment. So I think our education system needs to get a little bit better here. And so when I talk about the environment, I'm talking about everything that exists in that environment, which includes human beings. Because if we don't have any qualms about bringing in all that asphalt, for bringing in all those trucks, for bringing all those materials, and the comment of no impact, and we're doing all these things and all the lighting, apparently we have no value for the environment. So of course, there's no value to the individuals that they're doing this to them. There's just a way to get to their ultimate goal. They're just a stepping stone to their own individual purpose. And the environment, I know I'm going to go over the 3 minutes, but the environment, the earth. If the earth and everything that makes up the earth was out for itself, the earth would not be able to hold together. Just like the beach, right? Pick up 1 grain of sand. What is that 1 grain of sand? How powerful it is, or not. Just that one little piece of sand. But when you look at that sand with all the other sand that makes up that beach, and how powerful it is for you to walk on and hold the earth together. For all those trees and its roots that holds that soil together. All those elements, the trees, the sand, the rock, the oil, everything has to work together to hold this earth together. And the concept of the earth is about we. All those things are not selfish to each other because they're holding each other together. But all the other walks of life that should be about we to help hold this earth together is all about I and me. And that's why we're seeing what we're doing with not having that humanity in a situation, because it's all about I, me, and forgetting that it's about we, and we, and how we are going to exist and how we are going to move together.
Thank you all for your beautiful and thoughtful answers. Okay, so we're going to smush the next 2 questions in together so that we stay on time. Okay, so what actions are you uplifting to shut down the detention center, and what actions are you encouraging others to uplift to do the same?
Thank you. That's a great question, and that's really the reason I'm here as a representative of municipalities. Why would someone who is a former city commissioner or someone running for mayor be involved in a state or federal or environmentally global issue? Well, when our federal government is getting it wrong and when our state government is getting wrong, we have 412 municipalities in the state of Florida. And not only do they have a voice, they actually answer most closely to the residents that are affected. For example, in the city of Miami, 68% of our residents were born in another country. This is the largest major city in the United States with an immigrant population of that percentage. So how could I not represent them when it comes to issues of persecution of immigrants, of profiling? So what could I do as a municipal elected official? Well, in this case, City of Miami just signed a 287G agreement with the federal government to use our municipal police force to actually enforce federal immigration law. This is wrong on so many levels. Even from the basis level of financial responsibility. You shouldn't be using municipal tax dollars to enforce federal issues. But also our police are not meant to be doing these things. Our police are there to protect everybody who sets foot in our city, whether you're a tourist, whether you're a resident, whether you have documents, or whether you don't. Everyone should be able to call 911. So that's where a city can play a role. But it goes much, much larger than that. And I really point to Miami-Dade County. They own that property. They manage that property. They should have a much stronger role in this fight, but they're afraid of DeSantis. The city of Miami is the largest user of water from that Biscayne aquifer. Miami-Dade County pumps 350 million gallons of water per day from the Biscayne aquifer. And the city of Miami is the biggest recipient of that. So guess what? We have a stake in how clean that water is, that the water that's going through, 40% going through that part of the Everglades, Big Cypress, is going to get contaminated and become part of our groundwater system. We now have standing to get into this fight, and we should. So I really call on municipalities around the state to get strongly involved, stand up, and push back, because it will work.
Thank you.
So we accomplished something really incredible, but I want to remind all of us that this fight is not at all over. There are still detention camps being opened in North Florida that we need to keep up the fight against, because just because it's not in the Everglades doesn't mean that the conditions will be any less inhumane. So we have a petition here at Flick that we would love for you to come to our table and sign, that advocates for closing down all of these detention camps across Florida that are being built in way too rapidly. And also I want to remind folks, definitely echoing what Ken has said about the 287Gs, we need to continue to present ourselves in county meetings, city meetings, and make sure that they know that we are not okay with this. I want to encourage folks to also reach out to their sheriff's office, ask them, are you enforcing the 287G? We don't want this in our municipality, in our city, in our county. And really making your voice heard in that way. And I think also uplifting the stories that people have to tell in these other detention camps in Chrome and BTC and the camps that are being opened in North Florida. Hearing them out, sharing their stories, making sure that their faces, that their names are known, so that we can humanize them. And, you know, I think that there's so many ways to go about this. Join Flick, definitely join our mailing list so that we can keep you updated on all of the work that we're doing and how you can get involved.
Thank you.
So I definitely want to echo what has already been said, signing the petitions, right? Showing up to your county meetings, to your city meetings. But I also know that each one of us here has God-given gifts, right? Some of us have the ability to write really well and to write powerful, convincing stories. Some of us have the power to speak and to convince people, right? So I encourage each one of us to look deep within and to see what are the gifts that we have and how it is that we can use them to amplify the voices of those most affected, and to also make it clear that Florida does not want any more detention centers. What we want are families together. And again, that could look like something as simple as writing an opinion piece and getting it published. If you don't know how to publish it, talk to us. We'll work it out. You know, going ahead, doing maybe something as simple as having a prayer night, right? We saw the impact of the vigils. So again, it's all about digging deep into who we are and how we want to use those gifts, because now is the moment.
Thank you.
So echoing what everyone else has said, this fight isn't over. And one of the organizations that's a part of the lawsuit, Friends of the Everglades, is a very small nonprofit. Their nonprofit was born out of the fight to stop the original jet port, when Marjorie Stoneman Douglas with others created this nonprofit for that fight. So that's their birthplace, and the birthplace of the EPA and the Clean Water Act. A lot of people don't know that. And it took a wide, diverse group of people to make that happen. Just like today, it's taking a wide, diverse group of people to make that happen. So I encourage you, one way to help is to donate to Friends of the Everglades. They started an Everglades Defense Fund to help. And again, share out those messages. This story has gone international The world is watching. So continue to share that stories. And, sometimes, what is it? The media, never lets the truth in the way of a good story, right? That's what sometimes people say. But here, let's help them, the good story, to be that truth of what is going on. And they have been very instrumental in sharing out those stories of what's going on. So I applaud them for doing that and making this an international issue, because it stems greater and far out than just the Everglades and what's going on in the United States. But we're not going to get good decisions if we don't have good human beings. So therefore, these prayer vigils are very important to bring the humanity back in the situation and to make those connections with each and every one of us, to quit looking at someone, because I don't know about you, but when someone walks by, I don't say, oh, I wonder where they're from. I wonder if they're illegal or not. That thought doesn't even go in my head. But apparently it's going in some people's heads. And so how can we look at each other and put that human face on it, bring that humanity back into it? And the way to do that is, as you're doing when you meet here in church, you're finding that community, you're finding that family, and these prayer vigils have been a way to unite everyone, regardless of how they vote and how they think. They've been able to find common ground in their faith and in their prayer, and also common ground in their love for their public lands. Because in order to heal, and have that humanity, we have to have the natural areas to be able to go out and connect with and decompress. So we have that one uniting thing. And I've been very adamant to keep the politics out of it, because that's very divisive. I don't even talk to my own family about politics, I don't want to have that at the kitchen table. But because those things are not real. They're man-made. They're not real. But people think they're so real. What is real? Think about that. What is real to you? Because we all want the same thing, right? We want to have a place to exist. We want to have shelter. We want to have food. We want to have water. We want to have safe places to raise our kids. We want to have our natural spaces. But how we get there is a little bit different. So how can we have those conversations with each other? Quit yelling at each other. Have conversations and discussions to figure something out. Because this issue that is very divisive that we're facing in this country, if we have conversations about it, we could probably go somewhere and figure it out. Because this was a topic when I was a kid, when Nixon was around. So it was, debating. I was like, if that was so important back then, how come we didn't solve it yet? Because apparently it wasn't that important, because we haven't solved it yet. So think about how we can look at each other as human beings and have conversations. Tell 3 people. Have it spread. But be willing to hear the other person's voice. Because for me, I tell people, I may not agree with you, but I'm always willing to listen to what you have to say and have that conversation instead of just shutting off our minds.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you. All right. So this concludes the panel portion of the evening, and we will move on to some audience questions. Thank you all for your answers. And just remember, open your mouth, open your heart, and let's side with love. Oh, me? Oh, wait, we got one more door prize. Ooh, all right, many more. All right, 732 4788. One more time. 732 4788. Hey, come on down.
So there are 4 emergency radios there that you can choose, or you can go with the plants, but we're in hurricane season and those emergency radios are pretty cool. Does anybody have one? Anybody have one? Yeah, you guys have them already. I don't have one, but they're solar powered. You charge your phone in them. You can, fancy, right? Jessica, I don't know how to attach this. So we are going to open up the floor for a little bit.
So if you do have a question for our panelists, please come line up right behind the microphone and ask your questions.
Nobody's talking? Come speak. Come speak, and it can be a question, or you can just share your feelings or thoughts. It's an
There's someone behind
opportunity
you.
for a platform. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Gary. I'm from Fort Lauderdale. My question is for Betty. I'm online with Mobilize, Indivisible, and Hope in Action, and I've attended many protest rallies in Fort Lauderdale. Given what happened in court with the judge's decision and our victory, is it appropriate that we still continue bringing organized protest rallies outside the detention center, or should we hold off on that for now?
Good question. And I don't protest, I advocate and educate. You're not going to get anywhere protesting. Because that word has already, when people hear it, they already have a negative connotation to it. Just like using the word immigrant, I tell people who are labeled as immigrant, you're not an immigrant. That doesn't define you. What is your nation? What is your nationality? Who are you? What are your roots? Because that's what's going to help them make you see a human being. Also, too, when it comes to I'm going to talk about myself a little bit to help answer that question. When I go into someone else's territory, whether I do a prayer walk, I go to that community to let them know I'm coming to pray, because I'm a spiritual person, so I go and pray. I don't go and protest. And I'm about healing, and I go to the police department, and I talk to them and say, hey, I come in peace, right? And so that they know what you're about, so they don't see a whole bunch of group of people come in and then react, but they know what you're there for. But when I go to an Indian tribe in another person's territory, I come with offering of help. I never go in with my own ideas and what I think they need to do. I always ask, how can I help you? How do you need me to help you? And I proceed to do that, which is kind of different in other societies. So our tribe has very, very adamant with this lawsuit and everything going on, that we remember what the tribe's message is, even as tribal members, when we're posting about it, when we're holding events, is that it's also to remember what the tribe's position is and how they're advocating for this center to be stopped, and which is coming from the environmental standpoint and educating about it, and in educating about it, we'll be able to win on the environmental grounds. And what I've seen in my initial events that I had were prayer events. Yes, yes, there were signs and great energy, but what I noticed was that the individuals in their enthusiasm to help ignored how the indigenous ran the event. And I think they don't, and also not understanding how we do prayer and chanting over how we do prayer. But you understand this type of prayer. That's why I switched up the prayer events, because people understand this. And when they come, they understand that the quorum that is expected in this type of building. So yes, we need to advocate about it. We need to educate about it, because hate and anger has not got anybody anywhere. It's got, in a positive way, it's got us what we are facing today, in which is not seeing each other as human beings. Because war begets war, hate begets hate, anger begets anger. So how can we the hardest thing a warrior has to do is, in the face of adversity, is remain in peace. Because it's easy to get angry, it's easy to kill, it's easy to destroy, it's easy to make war. The very hardest thing to do is make peace. Look across in Europe and the other countries. How many years they've been trying to achieve peace? They haven't got there yet? That's one of the hardest things you can do. So how you can help uplift those voice and issues is Because I know when people come and they're angered, there's a lot of anger and emotions and sadness and depression around this issue, and it comes out. But when we're yelling at the other side and the other side is yelling at us, where are we getting? Nowhere. So, but now when we're out there, because we've been out there every Sunday in prayer, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. We're going to have it tomorrow. So and also too, I tell people when I do prayer walks, when they come to do a prayer walk, they're all distracted by all these other things and ignore the very thing they're trying to help. So how can we come where we're actually helping the very thing we're trying to help? So when we're holding signs and doing this, and we have F this and F that on it, why are we going to put ourselves in a place that is, they're degrading humanity and making fun of humanity? And why are we going to help degrade ourselves as well? And so when we're out there, think of the verbiage on your sign. The best signs I saw were people with pictures of the nature and wildlife, and even the Carl Hyacin, like I'm in a Carl Hyacin story. I thought that was the best one, right? It explained it all. Because we're like, this it almost feels like this is not reality. Like we're in a book or something, you know, and I hope somebody writes a book about it. And so you can hold those things. But remember, when you go to help in somebody's territory, help in how they need you to help, not help in how you think they need you to help. Because the tribe has a message and the way they're messaging. And when others come counter to what that messaging is, it doesn't help. When others come encouraging people to block a road, I'm like, why would you block a road out on the Tamiami Trail and everybody's flying through at 70 miles an hour and the entrance in here, we're out in the middle of nowhere. Where that might make sense is in the urban area where there's thousands and thousands of people in front of the commissioner's office, right? And when you're talking about where's our tax dollars, why is all our money going out there when we're having trouble providing services here? And then you're in front of an area and holding signs because everybody's going to see it. Out there, the only people going to see it is the people coming out that gate, right? So it doesn't that's not the hill to die on for that. Because then it makes you look bad and it derails the entire movement. One person's bad action impacts everyone, right? So we do want that allyship, but remember, when you're coming to help the tribe, it's how the tribe needs you to help them. We don't need a person coming riding in on a white horse. We just need people to uplift that voices like they're wanting people to uplift those voices and how they need them uplifted. I was born here, my ancestors were born here, that we predate the United States. But their ancestors came here looking for a better place, and they have walked those shoes. I haven't walked those shoes. So how their voices need to be uplifted because they have walked those shoes. I know how my voice needs to be uplifted because I have walked those shoes. There's been more deaths of Native Americans in this United States than anywhere else as a casualty of colonization, the highest rate. So I have walked those shoes. And I understand about racism and discrimination. I understand that. I can share that with them. But I don't know the immigrant story, the migrating here. They know that story and what they're facing and the fears. So it's how they need to be uplifted. And that's, for me to listen and that have that compassion and understanding. And maybe some of you understand their story. Or maybe none of us do. No one else does. So we have to come up with an open mind as to, because I get told all the time how I should do this, I should do that, and I should, you know what? I'm like, organize your own thing over here and do it how you need to do, but I'm going to do it how I need to do it. So I hope that answered.
It does. Thank you very much. Answered very well.
I'm taking the mic back. There is another question. Okay. Last one. Thank you.
Hello, and thank all of you for being here and the expression of your understanding of this whole thing. This is going to sound very legalistic. Does the state of Florida and the United States government not have a penal code? And does that not impact how people are supposed to be treated, even if they're being punished? And if, in fact, there is a penal code and it's in violation, how can we say this is not how we hold people?
Yeah, so I can go ahead, I can take a chomp at that question. So the United States does have certain benchmarks for how detention centers are supposed to be run. However, they have never met them. Right now at Chrome, what we've been seeing is that it's overpopulated. We're seeing the same thing at BTC, and we're trying to take them to court because that's where we're thinking we're gonna see the wins, right? That's strategy. But honestly, we're seeing that even from before the current administrations haven't necessarily responded. They've just been saying, it is what it is. But again, that's where we have to do the hard work of, number one, educating ourselves and educating our peers about what the conditions inside of those detention centers are. And number two, again, hammer in on the message that there is no humane detention. I'll be very honest, during the Obama administration, there were detentions, and worse than that, there were families that were being put together in there. So this is not a new story, this is an older story, right? And yeah, the idea of if we have standards, why don't we meet them? That's the question that I think we're constantly asking ourselves too.
Regardless of the rules, in spite of the rules, the cruelty is the point. They're doing it on purpose to send a message. They want to be a poster to the rest of the world that if you come here, it's going to be so bad for you, you better not even think about it. It's the worst advertisement for our country ever, and it's the worst way to treat people, using human lives as that fodder for political propaganda. And unfortunately, those who would hold them accountable are them. The state and federal government. I mean, this is where we hope that the judicial system kicks in once again as needed, and it is. And so this legal process that's going on now, unfortunately, isn't taking into account the humanitarian issues on the conditions. Even though these things were brought up by the plaintiffs, the judge actually was surgically smart about her 82-page ruling so that it will hold up on appeal. Did not go into those issues, did not even go into whether or not there is a state of emergency. Even though the plaintiffs rightfully brought that up, the judge stuck to the environmental law that's being violated, NEPA, the National Environmental Policies Act, which is again formed out of this property itself, and ironically is now being tested on this property. And even under state of emergency, NEPA must be followed, and it wasn't. So she's going to prevail for this property. For Alligator Alcatraz will hopefully be shut down permanently based on this issue, but again, it doesn't address all the other detention centers, the humanitarian crisis, the false immigration crisis that's being purported. So a big fight ahead.
And I just really want to quickly mention, it is possible to close detention centers here in Florida. We've done it before. We did it with the Homestead Children's Detention Center. I don't know if y'all remember, yeah. Yeah, I want us to hold on to that hope. It is possible, it's been done before, and we will do it again.
Oh my gosh, that's a great place to, you're gonna,
Yeah. The thing is, this creativity that the state took, very creative, in trying to create a new avenue for, it's all about the land. So it's a new avenue that hasn't been tested before. And there are loopholes, right? And, you know, the sad fact is the state legislature could stop this. They could convene a special session and stop it. But the excuse is, oh, we just came off of a long session. We need a break. Give me a break, you know? Because this issue is very important to the constituency of Florida and South Florida, who 8 million people's water source depends on the Everglades, the environment. Just think, if all your water goes away, how is your municipalities going to take care of you? How are they going to address that? Miami-Dade County is in a deficit already and talking about cutting their emergency management services budget and their helicopter flights for emergency management. God forbid you have a heart attack and have to be flown anywhere, because money is going to be spent on doing all these things in another way. And that's how it's indirectly impacting all of you. It's not about just being immediately impacted because it's family members in there. It's like you, in the end, when you go to get a service and it was defunded because they're spending a lot of money on things that they shouldn't have to around this entire situation. So your legislature has the ability to shut it down. But how can we get them all back to Tallahassee to do something about it? That's the thing. It's the lack of will of those individuals to go back. They're mumbling behind the scenes, but again, it's the fear tactic. They don't want to make, someone's upset. So it's about me, right? Because they want a future in politics. They're keeping their mouth shut, even though they don't agree, because it's about, they have the I. It's about them, me. I want to see my future. If I open my mouth, I won't have a future in politics. That's the crux of it, because they can stop it. They have the power to stop it. They just don't have the will to go back and stop it, because they're only thinking about their home, their wallet, and themselves. They're not thinking about their constituency.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much to our panelists. I'm really impressed and grateful. And I'm going to close off the live stream right now, but I think Betty has her own Facebook Live as we transition to our next activity. And I think there were questions online, but due to time.
Can we take one, at least one?
I would like to move to actually passing out an opportunity for each of you to Louis and to express your thoughts and what I would like to offer to our elected officials. So the Lunas, which wave Lunas, have postcards in their hands. And so they're going to pass out to every row some postcards. You all are welcome to have some postcards too. And invite you to write to an elected official. Now's your chance. So some people are more creative. You want colors? There's colors, there's markers. We are getting down to just bare basics. And I think that's one of the things that's very difficult when we're dealing with such big problems is knowing I'm a little me, where do I fit in this? What can I do? And we want to pretend, yes, I'm going to be a big something and just crush it all, but it's not going to happen. It's these small actions that we do with love, that we do with openness. And so please complete, and on the address side, indicate who you want it sent to. And based on the number of votes, whoever is the most popular elected official, I will go and I will deliver all the postcards to that elected official and indicate what it is that all these postcards. So there are the postcards. There is a box that we'll pass around after we finish this portion. So Yarelis wants to, sure, go ahead.
I'll just chime in really quickly. It's so important that y'all fill out these postcards. Y'all may be looking at it like, it's a piece of paper. But when we have meetings with elected officials, that is the proof that their constituents are saying that they don't want this. Because if not, they look at us like, it's just, nobody said anything. And I've heard that so many times. None of my constituents have called me. My constituents don't care about this. I don't have any emails. I don't have any calls. Now is a chance to show up.
it becomes a matter of public record. So even though you do the postcard today, if you make a phone call, if you make an email, they can't ignore it because it becomes a matter of public record, and it's very true. Because I have been in meetings on the other issues where, well, nobody called me. But then I've been in meetings on an issue where we had, you know, an action alert for everybody to call, and then you see a commissioner there is like 1,000 people, or like they shut down the system. They're calling left and right. So obviously something is going on, and that cannot be ignored. And even if you sign a petition, what I've done in the past, because in Florida, a lot of times you can have several thousand signatures and they count it as one. So what I've done in the past is I've taken petitions that have 5,000 signatures and I print each and every one of their comments and come with a stack. And then
I have
these
a
are the
question.
comments.
If our audience needs help in choosing an elected official, she's ready. Who should they address their postcard to?
For me, I would say Kava Levine, even though she came out yesterday and did her media interview. Where was she all the other days?
Mayor Kava Levine.
And I know her, so Daniela Kava Levine, write her, because even I have wondered, why wasn't there a lawsuit from Miami-Dade County about the taking of their property? And I understand, you know, politics is politics, but, you know, if that's a hill to die on, I think that would be the hill to die on, is somebody taking your property from the county. That's because that's your property.
That is.
Yeah, so for me, I would say Daniela Kava Levine. You know, like I said, I know her, and I know all the pressures and everything, but, you know, there's a time to think about we and the constituents and speak up for what is right.
So definitely what I would encourage people is to also look up the congressional representative from that area. Diaz-Balart. So write to Mario Diaz-Balart. Write to the South Florida delegation. Include all of them in there because that affects your water.
Mario Diaz-Balart, if you don't know who he is.
Yes. So him, Carlos Jimenez, Maria Elvira Salazar, definitely hit them with your postcards, with your calls, and say, hey, this is still going on. This is going to affect my water. I don't want this here.
Write it on your postcard. I will deliver.
Yeah. And for oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, for those of you wondering exactly how much money this state was willing to invest into that detention center, it was $600 million. $600 million. So when they tell you, we don't have money for food stamps, we don't have money for this, we don't have money for that, remember that they had $600 million for this concentration camp.
So remember, this is not a partisan fight, and you can write to any legislator at any level to advocate on this issue because everyone has a stake in it. And it's just the beginning. Just recently at Miami-Dade County, the county commissioners voted to build the country's largest garbage incinerator. And guess where one of the sites is that they've considered to put it? It was actually a Democrat who stated on the dais, now that there's a detention center there, we've opened the door for non-environmental uses in the Everglades, so we should consider burning 2 million tons of trash there every year. So please, Miami-Dade County Commission is a great target for your advocacy. One, that they should care about this from an environmental and humanitarian perspective, but two, that they have a role in it, they have a stake in it, they have standing, and they should be more proactive. And that you've got their back when they do.
You guys good? Nobody else? All right. Is there a question? Go ahead. Sorry. Do you want the mic?
You.
That's right.
What's to stop him? It's you. Collectively, everyone together, it's about you. The Big Cypress Preserve was created to stop future development. I never thought, when I was a kid, going to those meetings and translating for my family, that's a heavy responsibility for a little kid to try to translate. And in their negotiations and now how they were gonna conduct operating that facility and everything for the Big Cypress Preserve. This was never supposed to happen again. So it's reminding your Miami-Dade County, because Miami-Dade County has been looking for ways to profit off that land. I don't know if anybody has read up on all that and everything, because they're still trying to find ways to make that land profitable. I think that's 9,000 acres of land. And so it's you that has to remind them, hey, the preserve is there. We're not supposed to have anything built out there, because that's for you to go access and recreate and connect with for the future generations. It's your water, right? And when Miami-Dade County is that awful idea of after the detention center is gone, where like they want to consider the site for an incinerator over there, you got to tell them no. You got to nip it in the bud now. But it's the power of the people that is going to keep it from happening. Because if you read the Miami Herald article, it's been in the works for a few years now, some kind of deal that they've been trying to make. It came out, I think it was in July, that article, that the county wants to sell that property. The county wants to sell the property, so it's up to you. Do you want the county to sell the property or keep it and put in some kind of, I don't want to say conservation easement, because those can be perverted as well. Is that you, the county, do you want the county to keep the property and understanding that and keep it where it's undeveloped? I don't think that's being considered. I would think as citizens, you have that right. Yes, it's surrounded by the preserve, but that there's a deal on the table that the county, there's a deal on the table where I know there was an offer to give the land to the Big Cypress National Preserve, but the caveat is if they could carve out that 9,000 plus acres where the jetport is and the surrounding natural area to develop on it in exchange for giving the other 20,000 to the preserve. That's no. So, but I didn't hear any discussions about, well, there's a catch-22 with giving that land to the preserve. There's a big catch-22. And people might think that's a great idea because we already have the preserve. But just like with the wilderness designation, which I fought, because they would have kicked out the Miccosukee tribe from the preserve. Oh, God. So when people have these great ideas, learn more about it and what those unintended consequences are. Most definitely, we don't want to see that runway turned into something else, but there is a deal and options that they're looking at to develop the runway into something else. That's why I said this has all been about a land grab, and it's always been about the land. They just chose a very contentious issue that, just like that commissioner said, now that we can do other types of activities on this property because the state opened that door, we, the county, should be able to come in and do other types of activity now that that door has been opened. And I've been saying that from day one. They opened that door for development. It's all about land and development.
We're going to close that door.
So let's close the door.
We are going to close that door. Thank you. Okay, should we do another door prize? Want to get rid of the radios? Okay, I'm ready. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, you guys. 7, you ready? Does everyone have a ticket? Jane? Oh, Jane, give them tickets. Oh, here she comes. Okay. You ready? Everybody got your tickets? You want a radio, a big plant? They gotta come bring them to you, right? Yeah, we'll wait. In the meantime, what an amazing group of people. I know online we've had lots of chatting, and of course, like you say, online people are very bold. Aren't they bold online? But let's give them grace. Let's give all of ourselves grace. Everybody's getting their tickets. Wow. I see a flurry of activity. Yes. Oh.
So just a reminder, every Sunday, the Interfaith Alliance, or the Coalition in Florida, as an offshoot from the initial prayer vigil that we did, made a decision that every Sunday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. that they're going to hold a prayer vigil across from the site. As long as this facility is open, up, and running, they're going to be out there every Sunday. So this is a coalition of faith, all these churches throughout the state of Florida. It started in Naples. This other one was out of Miami. We had St. Petersburg. That area of churches came down. And this weekend, it'll be, I believe it's Coral Gables. One of the temples is organizing and having all the different clergy that are coming. I understand there's going to be 2 busloads of individuals coming in addition to, extended congregation. But it's open to everyone. Everyone, however you observed your spirituality, whether it's in a building like this or whether it's outdoors, however you connect with your spirituality. And I even had a question. I chuckle about it, and it was a serious question, or which is welcome. I'm like, why not? They're in nature. They revere nature, and they need nature to connect with their spirituality. And I said, if it's a white witch, they're even more welcome, And but you see what I mean? It's open to everyone because everyone has their place, and there's nothing wrong with following Wicca.
Amen.
In other spiritualities. So we're all welcome. Because when you think about your prayer, and when you think about Creator, God, Allah, Yeshua, when you think about all the miracles that happened that is in your scripture, when you think about that, and then you think about individuals who pray and do different ceremonies, hoping for a miracle, what's the difference? Right? What's the difference when we're praying for that miracle, and when we're praying to the sky, to the wind, to the air, to all the elements to come together because they're all alive to help that miracle? What's the difference?
I want to give away my radios and the big plants. I want to definitely get rid of the big plants. All right, you guys ready now? You ready? I want audience response. Yes? Okay. 7, 3, 2, 4, 7, 8, 0. Jane? Oh, no. Congratulations. I'm not listening to that. There's only joy in this room. There's only joy in this room. All right. Next is 7, 3, 2, 4, 7, 8, 3. That was right next to the other one. Yes? The last 2 numbers were 8, 3. Going once. He's got it? Oh, good. And he asked a question. Wait, he's sitting down again. Oh, he's looking for it. 8, 3. Yay! Thank you for your question. We need as much joy as we can find anywhere. And if it's just in a plant, that's enough. Okay, the last two numbers are 6, 8. 6, 8. Hey, you got it. Congratulations. Come on up. 6, 8. A radio or a large plant or many little plants. All right. Did we get rid of all the radios yet? Yay. One more radio. Ready? We have the last two digits are 3, 0. You got it. Get yourself a plant. Christine is a member here at Unitarian, I cannot say that for the life of me. But she was one of the people that suggested plants. So here, get a plant, or 2, or 3. Or the radio. The radio's got no plants for you. So some of these plants, there is hope in the world. These are businesses that donated these plants. I have their cards there, yes. Business people do donate things. So they donated these plants. And they're medicinal and edible, the small ones. So there's turmeric, and there's the name in a wood stick in there, but Panadol is also one, which I think is behind our filmer there, our Facebook filmer. Yeah, I think that's a Panadol, and there's Cuban oregano. Our earth is beautiful. All right, one more. Last one is, the number is 4, 1. Last two, hey, you got it, congratulations. Okay. I am going to close us down. Actually, make sure that you put everything in the postcards. I have a box, a beautiful box that my daughter created for me. Is she here? Did she make it? She's got to be here because she delivered the radios, but she's hiding. That's what. Anyways, I'm going to close this out with a prayer. Please give Miss Luna a postcard. I will be sending them. I will be delivering and doing a small vote, and I will send everyone an email, because I got your emails, with the results of who I'm going to visit. So, and if you want to come with me, that would be really exciting. These people, they know how to do this stuff. I'm just learning. Okay. Reverend Dr. Harold Marrero is a visiting minister for our congregation. He has an amazing immigrant story because he actually came from Cuba on a raft. And he came around the same time that, if any of you remember, you've been here in Miami long enough, Elian. Anybody remember Elian? And that was my first introduction into immigration. Like, this is complicated. This is very real, and it's very special to Miami, for better or for worse. It is our issue, and we are the ones who can take it in the direction it needs to go in. So he wrote this for us, and it's called A Collective Prayer for Justice and Belonging by Reverend Dr. Harold Marrero. Love that lives within us and among us. Courage we kindle together. Wisdom rising from our shared conscience. We gather as one community to remember who we are and what we can become. Our ancestors in the prophetic tradition dared to reimagine a realm of love, a just society that tends first to the vulnerable, that uses love as a mirror for what is good, and as a guide for how we will care for one another. We affirm that love has many names, many forms, yet each name and each form reflects the same luminous truth, that the universe is alive to itself in billions of unique lives. We lament the despicable realities of places like Alligator Alcatraz, where people, bearers of this same cosmic light, have been imprisoned and treated unjustly. We name such a place as a negation of love, a display of our worst impulses rather than our highest commitments. It is a betrayal of who we hope to be as a nation, as people of conscience, and as fellow humans on a small planet set within a sea of stars. Each person is a one-of-a-kind expression in the universe, and when we cage one another, we waste the uncharted frontier of our collective and individual becoming. So together, we say no to places that dehumanize. No to practices and systems, including those carried out by ICE, that serve the politics of the few over the dignity of the many. And no to policies that betray the courageous spirit of freedom entrusted to us by our ancestors and by our neighbors who struggle now. We commit ourselves to yes to sanctuary and solidarity, yes to visiting, yes to accompanying and advocating, yes to legal aid, yes to mutual aid, yes to public accountability, yes to policies that heal, harm, and protect families. Yes to the disciplined hope that builds a just Miami, where every person can live, work, and dream without fear. We center those who suffer. We will listen to their leadership. We will organize our money, our time, and our votes towards mercy and repair. We will practice the courage to love when it is costly, the patience to love when it is slow, and the joy to love until freedom is shared. We long for peace, we work for justice, and above all, we call forth the good in people from every walk of life to push back with nonviolence and perseverance against the cruelty that has overtaken too much of our common life. May we be the prayer our mouths now speak. May our hands become the answer we seek. And may it be so. I'm going to extinguish the chalice. We have a bell, but it's gone. Thank you for a wonderful evening, and please take all the food home. And the plants. Everyone take a plant. Thank you to our panelists.